SK Vibemaker.
Jessie Reyez is in the building.
Hello.
How about that?
How about that?
The UK welcomes you back.
Thank you, SK.
How does it feel to be back in the UK?
Like I never left, man. This place feels a lot like home, to be honest. A lot of it reminds me of Toronto.
For real?
For real. The journey's a bitch. Like the travel, how long that flight is and everything is a bitch. But once you get here, it's nice.
It's all nice.
Yeah, man.
I mean, people are really anticipating an album from you. I feel like we're finally going to get at the top of 2020, right? Jeez, how has that been? Like making an album as opposed to making the two prior projects, which were EPs.
I mean, the process and the stress hasn't really changed apart from I just been ready. Like it feels like I've been holding a piss for like 50 years. That's what it feels like. I just want to drop it. And I just can't wait to do it, man. I'm excited. And I can't wait to like, you know how certain artists that have already proved themselves can almost make the world stop with music? Like when Kendrick drops a project, the world stops. Frank drops a project, the world stops. But they didn't start that way. They had to prove themselves as artists to like solidify that legendary status. I'm excited to put like my first like Kiddo and Being Human in Public were like baby steps, but like my first step towards that legacy that I'm building, towards that blueprint in my mind. That's what I'm aiming for.
I mean, I do a lot of interviews with a lot of artists, but you're an artist that I follow since we first done our first couple of interviews in 2017.
Sick.
And I've been happy to see the growth.
Thank you.
And like the journey, because artists start out with a boom and they often burn out quickly. Like you're still on your ascendancy. Like, do you feel like, I mean, how would you summarize the last couple of years in, you know, the growth and your beginning in this industry since you've been putting out music?
Honestly, it's been exactly what we planned. Like, it's been exactly what we planned, because I remember when we first started, like as a team and like joining with partners and everything, there's people that could get a hit, right? Like a big, like worldwide hit. But if you have no foundation and you don't have a fan base and you don't have like people you connect to that love you, it's kind of like, it's like a palm tree that just took like mad steroids and goes, right? And then life happens. And that's like a storm. And when life happens, whether that be like you weren't ready for what the industry brought, or you weren't ready for all those things, that shit could topple over, especially if it's like quick to grow, but it was quick, so the trunk's not as thick. But I would always say that the way I wanted to build it was to make sure that even if it took time, to make sure it was thick so that it's timeless, you know, so that I grow with people, so that people stick it through.
It's nice to hear you say that, because there's a lot of artists that want that quick hit and want that quick money.
If it happened, don't get me wrong, if it, like we always said it, I mean, if it happened, it'd be great, but it'd be like a good problem, because I know that we'd have to make sure that we're maneuvering to solidify as much, because it'd be difficult. I imagine that it'd be difficult because shit just starts moving fast, and if you don't have the foundation, that's kind of difficult.
Straight up. Imported, what a track.
Thank you.
I mean, how did you go from having such a big song on the original to getting Black on this one?
Yo, we were homies actually, because we kept passing each other by in festivals, like backstage and shit. And then someone on my team suggested it, and I sent him the song, and he was like, yo, I love it, and he did it.
Simple as that.
Simple as that.
On the Kiddo EP, which was your first project that you put out, when we spoke prior, you spoke about making Violent Soul. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like since then, your music's changed a little bit. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah.
We're getting the album at the top of 2020. Are we still on the Violent Soul journey? Or would you say that it's kind of changed a bit since then, like your sound and how you're making music?
I think for me, I'm still allergic to genre. I'm still like, I'm still allergic to genre. So if it doesn't, I don't know, man. It's still Quentin Tarantino. That's still the answer. What kind of music you make? I make Quentin Tarantino music. And it's been that, and it'll be that forever.
But definitely very soulful.
Yes.
Definitely very powerful with the vocals.
Thank you.
Definitely got that old soul, nostalgic voice.
Sick.
A
Thanks,
unique
man.
voice.
Thank you.
I know, like, when you hear Jessie Reyez's music, you know it's her if you know Jessie
Yeah.
Reyez from, you know what I mean, from the past. Do you get that a lot? Do you feel like people know your sound? Do you feel like you have quite a distinctive sound?
Yeah, man, it's a blessing too, and it's like a for real blessing, because honestly, like if you were to ask me, like I'm straight about it and I'm self-aware. I don't think I'm the best singer. There's still things I gotta fix. Yeah, my pitch, my quickness and runs. There's things that I need to fix, and there's a million singers that I know that are much better than I am, but I'm really happy that I can have something that's recognizable. Like I'm really happy that I get that comment often, and that people just recognize it.
I think that's part of the striving for perfection and knowing that you hardly ever get there, because that's what keeps you going and keeps you motivated.
Yeah,
so
man.
I think, you know, you being on a journey and hoping to improve and stuff. I was listening to you talk to Sway in the morning about you having a bad experience when you were young, and you singing a Mary J. Blige song and then saying it was Lauryn Hill and how you got a bit of a knockback back then. But since I've done the interviews with you, all I've seen is confidence. So funny. I couldn't imagine. Obviously you was quite younger then. Do you remember the point in which you got that confidence in your own ability?
It's a hard answer, because I even like when I just said, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm the best singer. Like I still have to improve. So I don't know if it's as much confidence as it is self-awareness, because maybe that kind of comes off as confident, I guess. The self-awareness that were the areas I know that I need to improve, but because of that, there's areas that I know that I feel like comfortable in, you know? One of the times that I felt, I guess, the most affirmed was probably the first gig I ever did as post Kiddo, which was in Philly.
2017?
When was the first show in Philly?
2017, June or July, something like that.
Yeah.
So we're talking just over 2 years ago. That's when you feel like you got the confidence in your ability.
I think so. That was a time, and it was like everything. It was almost like running a machine, and it was the first time I felt like the machine was oiled and running and lit. Like we got our boxes of merch. The first time I ever pulled out a Kiddo shirt was in this venue in Philly. The first time that I'd ever experienced the crowd taking over a song. Because at the end of Shutter Island, I remember telling Tim Subi, the producer, I was like, he wanted to make the song longer, and so did other people on my team, and I was like, no, we're keeping it short. And they were like, yeah, but you gotta leave people satisfied. I was like, no, fuck that. Like, if somebody likes the song, I'd rather it be short so they rewind it. My mom always says, like, you'd rather be missed. You'd rather be missed than have to overstay your welcome. So I brought that to music too. So I remember when the song was finished, the people kept singing, and they added, like, everyone in the venue added their own chorus, and I was dumbfounded. I was sitting there like
it was a moment.
It was a moment. That and I think last year as well, I had a moment. Like I guess I can pinpoint at those moments where I just feel like affirmations coming true and life kind of being like, yo, your hard work is paying off. Like, I have a whistle register I didn't know about, and it only came out last year at the halfway through the Being Human in Public tour. It was 2 months long, and it was 31 dates or 32 dates, and I think we were on our like 17th show, and I was warming up backstage or something, or it happened on stage. Yeah, right. And I was warming up, and I went into whistle register.
Jeez.
And I couldn't believe I'd never done that before. And I looked around like, holy shit. And then it was a process of like learning how to control it and everything. But I didn't. And that only came because I'd been working on my voice so much, because I'd been doing vocal lessons, because I'd been warming up like I'd never warmed up before, to make sure that I didn't lose my voice on this tour, because it was the longest, most intense tour I've ever done in my life. That was a moment too where I was like, lit, I'm getting better, and it's tangible.
Hitting the whistle register. Not everyone could do that. You know what I'm saying? And it came natural.
No, not well, yeah, out of me natural.
At that moment.
But because it's almost like if I tried to like lift this table 5 years ago and I couldn't, and then I've been lifting fucking like I've been doing bicep curls for 5 years, and then someone said, "Oh, can you move that?" And I went, and then I was like,
surprised that you could do it all of a
yeah,
sudden.
yeah,
Straight up.
yeah.
You mentioned something about, you know, your music being a moment when it's released, like when Kendrick drops music, and
That's
when
what I aim
Frank
for.
Ocean, yeah, that's what you aim for. And
One
when
day.
Frank Ocean,
I don't think I'm there yet though.
but you know, you're getting there.
Thank you.
But there is like a sort of there's a few artists nowadays which are quite mysterious. They don't do interviews, they don't do press. Not many people know much about them, and they happen to be sort of R&B artists as well. Now, I'm happy that you're out here doing press and doing interviews, and this being the third interview we've done. Could you imagine being a type of artist that doesn't do press and be quite mysterious?
Yeah, honestly, like you're great and everything, and I love doing this, but I'd love to be that kind of artist. I'd love to not have to do it. Like, again, thank you for having me, but I want to be honest with you. Like, I like to sing about shit more than I like to talk about shit. I don't really like to articulate. Like,
Let the music do the talking.
But I also know that for what I'm trying to build, I need to make sure that I'm like, what's the saying? Dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's. You know what I'm saying? And I know that this would help. I know that you have a viewership that might have never heard my shit. And I know that some people, like, there's even people that have told me, like, yo, I never heard your music, but I saw you in an interview and I fucked with your energy so much so that I went to go look for your music. You know? And I've gotten that a few times, and those are the people that have articulated or people that I've gotten in front of me. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that I haven't heard that from, that have had or have felt that effect from different interviews that I've been blessed enough and fortunate enough to do with people like you.
Sometimes artists are mysterious because they're socially awkward as well. You know, there's multiple reasons, and you know, I'm just happy that you're here doing press
Thank you.
and doing interviews.
Thanks, man.
You ain't got to tell me about your body count. I mean, it's interesting, man. If you've been in a relationship before, you know what I mean, long term or short term, and the body count conversation comes up, it can be very problematic. You know what I'm saying? It's not something I've discussed before.
Never? You never
not
got
really. I've gotten asked, but there's a way to swerve the answer.
How did you swerve?
Like, y'all just talk about other stuff, man. I'm an interviewer, man. I'm good at diverting conversations, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like I've got anything to hide because I can count on one hand the body count. But if you can't, it's okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you found it very awkward on multiple conversations to have like the body count conversation?
Before, I guess when I was like younger, because I feel like that's crazy. Because I feel like for women, like we're often given the like social construct and more judgment than men. Like we have to, a lot of women even subconsciously subscribe to that social construct of like, oh, well, women purity and men are allowed to fucking water the plants and spread your seed. You know what I mean? So I feel like when I was younger, before I identified so much as a feminist, and before I felt like I was in that fucking first line of defense, like fighting for equality and speaking out and all those things, which I feel like I try to do now, and not even try, like it's just knee-jerk reaction because I want to be treated fairly. Before that, when I was younger, when I was more naive, when I was more quiet, when I was still figuring myself out, I feel like maybe I had more of a propensity to listen to that sort of voice that was like, oh, that's shameful. Like maybe you shouldn't talk about it, maybe whatever, you know? But not anymore. Like I feel like I'm just in my own, and it is what it is. The only time I feel ways is like shit that I know that my dad's gonna watch or that my brother's gonna watch, where I'm like, oh fuck, but that's like that's just family stuff, you
Straight
know?
up, of course.
Yeah.
I can't sing, so I'm not gonna try and sing it, but there's a line where you say I dodge on the daily.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Now that is a big statement, and it was just a LOL moment.
Yeah.
Like everyone loves that line.
Yeah.
I mean, was that like quick for you to write that line and put
Absolutely.
it in there? Was that something you wanted people to take a lot from?
Well, not a lot. I feel like a lot of, for men, maybe it was jokes, but women, like, that's like saying the sky's blue. You know? Like, you have any homegirls that have ever, like, for jokes, just open up their DMs? It's crazy. The DMs are crazy. And you don't have to be, like, a 10. You don't have to be a 9. You don't have to be an 8, man. You just be a chick and just get it. It's just different.
Do you still deal with DMs?
What do you mean?
I mean, do you still like open them or entertain them or anything like that?
Yeah, I try to for like business purposes, true, because you know there's musicians and shit that reach out, or sorry, musicians and people that reach out. Yeah, I try to, and it's jokes sometimes. Like, yo, some dick pics are just like comedy. Some of them are jokes. Good morning.
You've been very like sort of modest today about your vocal ability, and I just like the way that Body Count showcases your vocal ability.
Thank you.
I feel like that is it's a great song that showcases your vocal ability. Was it much of a challenge to record, you know, like the runs and like the switches and styles in this song?
No, but it was definitely yes and no. But the excuse me, the nerves mostly came because having to do certain things with Babyface in the room is a little nerve-wracking.
Jeez, the legendary Babyface.
The legendary Babyface is a little nerve-wracking. But luckily, the like main part of the song, like the how it was written and everything, was like 2 a.m, and we were at Babyface's studio, but he wasn't there, and Chris Tynes was there, and we were talking about his homegirl, and we were talking about what I just said about girls having to feel or having to take on that burden of extra shame that a lot of guys don't even know. Have never even come close to that because you guys are given the liberty of being just more open and careless, you know. So the next day when we were like finessing certain runs and stuff, and then Babyface being there, that was nerve-wracking a little.
It's nice to be around the greats and sort of indulge in the greats. The other day I went to go and watch Raphael Sadiq. He was in London, and there were other people that said, I ain't going to watch Raphael Sadiq, and I said, you crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How was it working with Babyface? Because, you know, that's not an everyday occurrence.
Lit, man. He's so chill. And when he speaks, and when he tells stories, you can like, it's just so obvious why he's such a great songwriter. He's such a great storyteller. Effortlessly. So visual. Uses imagery with ease. And then there's 2 other things, man, that I took a lot from. In those sessions, the ceiling, like you can't see it here, but how tall is the ceiling? Like 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot?
Like 8 foot.
8 foot. Yeah. He's got like probably a 15-foot ceiling that walks into his studio, right? That's not even the wall part. The wall part is that, like, you see how there's plaques lined up here, and they're like, there's like a little space and then plaque and then little space. This man has no space. This man is just plaque. You don't see no inch.
Man's
of
got
wall.
a wallpaper plaques.
Wallpaper plaques. For 15-foot wall, walking down a hallway. I remember walking through that. There's a picture on my gram about it, and it's just me in a little dress looking up, and I look pint-sized compared to like the immensity, to the grandiose, like just of it. And I just remember in my head being like, oh, I'm not gonna stop until I have plaques on my walls like this. That. And then the third thing, I was writing, and I learned this from 2 songwriters. It was him, and then actually 3. Him, this guy named Germ, who's mad sick, who's on the original Imported, and this other guy named Verse, who's also mad sick, really dope songwriter. I met them all when I first started going to LA as a songwriter, before I even had my artist stuff out. We were all at that camp in Sweden when we were targeting songs for other artists. Anyways, I used to always write my shit down, my stuff. Damn it. I used to always write my songs down. And I remember being in this session with him, and I was like, oh, damn, I got to get the voice recorder out like I need it. And he was like, Jessie, in the calmest voice, because that's how he talks. He's like, it sounds like silk when he speaks. He's like, Jessie. I'm like, yeah. He's like, if it's that good, you won't have to write it down. If it's as good as a song like should be, if it's as potent as the line can be, you won't have to write it down, because it'll be potent enough to just stick. And I was like, true. So then it's just cool, like it's mad cool being able to take lessons and apply it, because it doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to be mechanical. For me, and even other like great like other songwriters that I look up to have done it that way too. But it was just cool to take that lesson from him and be able to apply that in different sessions, because sometimes I get blessed by inspiration, by God, by source, where I don't have to write it down because it's what he said is potent enough.
Now you write the majority of your material. I remember I was speaking about that prior, writing the majority of your material, and that can't be understated. Being a great songwriter, you know, have that ability, and obviously the business sense of it as well. How have you sort of developed your songwriting over the years? Has it been much of a challenge to, you know, stay fresh with it and be creative with, you know, writing your own songs?
No, man. It's part of the, remember how I said earlier when I was like, I need to get better at singing, I need to get better at like my technique and everything. I'm good on songwriting. Like, I'm good. I don't I'm proud of it. And I feel like there's a lot of like, people talk about industry plants and people talk about certain artists, like, and there's always other people and on the team and or other people that work for people that work for people that work for people that love to take credit for everything. And like, we did this, we did that. That would have been, and it's fine because it does take a team, and I've seen that. But I take a lot of pride in knowing that that's me. Like, that's me. Nobody can tell me shit about that. That's me. You know?
Straight up.
Yeah. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of myself for that. And I could still get better, obviously, and I feel like I do. The reason that I feel so strong in it is because I've walked into rooms, like when I worked with Babyface, or anytime that I work with Germ, or anytime that I work with musicians that I look up to. I walk into those rooms with the mindset of a sponge, so I can watch and learn and take notes to see how they do it, so that I can apply it to myself and like sharpen my knife or sharpen my pencil.
Sharpen the pen.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song that comes to mind that you've written to date?
Ankles.
For real?
Yeah, it's not out yet. It's coming. It's on the album.
So it's on the album. So a song that we've heard to date. What's your favorite song that you've written to date that you think's like the baddest, that you're proud of?
Shit. I love doing Shutter Island live. Like, my straight jacket's custom made though. I love that. And there's a lot of play on words. Like, if you dissect the lyrics, there's a lot of plays, there's a lot of subtleties, there's a lot of double entendres, there's a lot of imagery. I'm proud of that song.
Shutter Island.
Yeah, and I love seeing it in captions. I love that it's like my straight jacket's custom made though. I love that. That's like,
I remember we spoke about that last interview.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, I love that, man. Still love that song.
Now, you've spoken about Amy Winehouse being a great influence, you know, from the UK, and also Barrington Levy and Bob Marley. So I'm wondering if there's going to be any reggae influence on the forthcoming album. Have you started messing with any of those sounds?
Yeah, but I feel like reggae's been like, yes, I have, and it's been in me like forever. But there's like Body Count, the original way that it was played was in a reggae rhythm.
Straight up.
Like, that's how it was played, and then we built around it and changed it up a little bit. But if you listen to like the original, or if you listen to the way that the guitars played originally, it's that. So it's, yeah, man, it's been there forever. It's just certain subtleties, and if you look for it, they're there.
It's there. What can you tell us about the album? I mean, we've heard the 2 EPs prior. I mean, are they great hints to what we're going to get from the debut album? Or have you totally flipped it? Or is there elements of the EPs on the album? Like, what are we expecting from the album?
There's elements, because it's still me. Like, it's still, if I broke my leg today, I'm going to sing about having broken my leg tomorrow. It's still me.
Have you changed the sound that much? Are we getting that Violent Soul?
Oh, man, it's Tarantino till I die.
To the end.
Yeah, but the thing, I definitely made a conscious effort to make it more cohesive. Like, I took the idea of love, or of life and death, and switched it. Like, the positive connotation of life and the negative of death, and switched it, and then replaced life with love. Because we all have this idea that love is this beautiful thing, and that death is this darkness. So, because I'm a child of polarities, and because I like to switch perspectives a lot, I looked at love like the worst thing. And it's not like I've had the best history with heartbreak in my life. So I feel like the day that you meet the love of your life, you're really meeting the person that's going to hurt you the most. You're handing that person that gun, because you guys could fall in love, and then 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, somebody cheats, somebody goes on the gram, somebody talks to an ex, somebody goes on Ashley Madison. Some shit goes down, and then y'all break up, and then you spend years trying to find a replacement just because you want that feeling again, but that's gone.
And healing and stuff.
Yeah, that's the sad side. And then the good side of death is that if you have that next to you, if you have that idea that like, yo, you're gonna die, you could die tomorrow, then today you might not be an asshole. Today you might tell the truth. Today you might confess. Today you might live your life better. And it kind of rounds it out too, because even if you do find the love of your life and you guys make it till you're 80 and gray, one of you has to die eventually. So you're gonna have to end with goodbye. But if you kept death in the back of your head your whole life, that means that every day you actually made it count. You know?
That's very interesting polarity right there. A switch, a flip. Damn, I'm looking forward to hearing that album.
Sick.
SK Vibemaker.